Hey, what's up, guys? So coming to you this morning, I'm going to be doing the, give me 1 second, actually. Going to be doing the mid-year top 10s. This is my number 11 division in boxing, the 200-pound cruiserweight division. There hasn't been a lot of action due to the coronavirus and just other things going on that, not a lot of action from the top 10, so nobody dropped out from the beginning of the year. We did have a couple guys move around just off of opinions and other things going on. So let's jump into it and see what's going on in the top 10. We start with number 10. Still number 10 is the undefeated WBA super champion, Arsen Goulamirian. Goulamirian, just hearing, he last fought in December. Wasn't expecting really to see him anyways in the first half of the year. So coronavirus just confirmed that. But right now, Goulamirian is being rumored to possibly make a mandatory defense against interim champion. I think his name's Igor Gurgarov or whatever, a Russian fighter, undefeated Russian fighter on the rise. That hasn't been confirmed. I think we're probably going to see something like that because I don't see a lot of the other names that could be available rushing to the front of the line to face Goulamirian. So I think he'll probably face that guy, beat him, and hold on to his world title before the end of the year. Still number 9 is South African contender Kevin Lerena. Now, Kevin Lerena is ranked number 2 in the WBA right now, and I really hope he would be getting a line for Goulamirian, but right now he seems to just be staying busy. He fought 46-year-old former champion Firat Arslan in February, dominated him like what a shock, stopped him in 6 rounds, and still just doesn't seem keen on facing big names. He's talking that he could beat either guy in the World Boxing Super Series final, but I don't see him rushing to the front of the line to fight them. I think it's possible we could be seeing Lerena by the end of the year getting in there with regular champion Beibut Shumanov, and I think that's a start, but I really want to see this guy get in there against top 10 competition. And I think his next fight's going to be just to stay busy. We'll probably see him back in action in August or September. And then, like I said, I hope an eliminator or something of that sort, or even a regular title fight against Shumanov is coming towards the end of the year, but we'll see. Next, and still number 8, is former world title challenger Andrew Tabiti of the United States. Tabiti hasn't fought since getting knocked out in the semifinals of the World Boxing Super Series last June of 2019. When he got laid out against Junior Dorticos. He talked about possibly moving to heavyweight at some point and getting a Dorticos rematch, but nothing solid. I think the PBC and Mayweather Promotions are slowly rolling themselves back in. We'll probably see Tabiti back before the end of the year, but I think it's most likely just going to be a stay busy fight. He's not really ranked high in any, he's ranked number 7 in the WBC right now, so nothing major. The best you could get out of Tabiti this year would maybe be some kind of an eliminator, but I don't think we're going to see that. Next up at number 7, dropping 1 spot from number 6, is Alexei Papin, current contender. He's currently number 8 in the WBC right now. He's supposed to be fighting on August 15th against Ruslan Fafer. This is a big fight right here for Papin and a chance to score the biggest win of his career. Right now, his claim to fame was his last fight in August of last year when he went toe-to-toe with now champion Ilunga Makabuv in a WBC final eliminator. He lost a very close majority decision to him, and now with Makabuv becoming world champion, that's just more proof that Papin is legit. But he hasn't fought since then. Going in against Fafer, coming in off of a year layoff. It's going to be interesting to see. Fafer, fought, Andrew Tabiti in the World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals, came up short. Interesting fight right here. I think Papin's going to beat him, but I do think it could go either way. But a win over Fafer is definitely going to boost Papin's resume and get him hopefully into some kind of final eliminator, possibly end of the year, early next year. So we'll see. But August 15th against Ruslan Fafer for Alexei Papin. Next at number 6 is moving up 1 spot from number 7 is now former world title challenger Mikhail Cieslak. Cieslak entered the year lined up for the vacant WBC title shot against Ilunga Makabuv. The fight happened at the end of January, and Makabuv came up. They fought in his home country of Africa. I think it's Kinshasa he fought in. I think. and Makabu got a very close 12-round unanimous decision over CS Lock. It was a really good fight. So CS Lock loses the first fight of his career, but it was so close that the WBC still has him ranked number 2. So the WBC hasn't been clear about if Makabu is going to make a mandatory or if he's making a optional defense next. It should be an optional defense because he was the mandatory going in against CS Lock for the vacant title. But we don't know what he's going to do next. So CS Lock could end up facing number 1 contender Tabiso Mashinu if Makabu gets an optional defense. If not, he could face somebody else. But I think CS Lock, at most stay busy, but he's right there on the verge of a very likely final eliminator to get back in the ring with Makabu. And I think that's what he needs to go after next. So we'll see. Could be having that before the end of the year. Like I said, we'll see. Next at number 5, dropping 1 spot from number 4, is contender Noel Gavor. Gavor is currently ranked number 5 in the WBC. Haven't heard anything about his return. He hasn't fought since last June when he got a so-so 8-round decision win against some nobody. Prior to that, he hadn't fought, since the World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals when he got robbed against Maris Bradis back in 2018. So this guy needs to get busy and get back in the ring. He's on the verge of an eliminator. He's very close to that. So I think if he gets a tune-up victory, he could go straight into some kind of eliminator by the end of the year, but he's got to get it back in the ring. That's the only way he can do that. So I think we're going to see him shake off some rust, get back in the ring in the next couple months, and then hopefully he's in some kind of eliminator by the end of the year or early next year. Next at number 4, moving up 1 spot from number 5, is the newly crowned WBC champion, Ilunga Makabu. Makabu got a vacant title shot against undefeated Mikel Sayaslak. That was at the end of January. Makabu got the fight in his home country of Kinshasa in Africa, and he walked away with a very close 12-round unanimous decision to win his first world title. So big time win for Makabu. Congratulations to him. Since the win, though, we haven't heard anything on what he's going to do next. I don't believe he's going to have to make a mandatory because he was the mandatory when he fought CS Lock. That was a mandatory title fight. But his number 1 contender is Tabiso Mashinu. And Mashinu, there would be a rematch right there between him and Mashinu. A rematch of when he knocked Mashinu out in the 11th round of their fight. But I believe Mashinu was winning that fight on the scorecard. So, and Mashinu has been hot. Mashinu beat Denis Lebedev last year. Former champ Denis Lebedev. He's coming off that big win. So they haven't mandated Mashinu to fight Makabu yet. That doesn't mean they won't. But I really think he's in optional mode. But there's not a lot of big names lined up, and the other champions seem tied up right now. So I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for Makabu. So I think whatever he does, he's going to be favored, and he's probably going to win. But you never know. Depends on who he fights. I also wouldn't be surprised if he just stayed busy ahead of a possible unification bout late this year or early next year. So, but I'm hoping in the next month or two we hear what Makabu's going to do next. Next, and still number 3, is former 2-time champion Krzysztof Glowacki. Glowacki is still lined up to fight for the vacant WBO title against undefeated Lawrence Okoli. That fight was getting planned around Triple G's title defense of his middleweight belt, but then the coronavirus set in and pushed everything back. There's no news if he's still going to be fighting on a Triple G undercard, but we know that Eddie Hearn, who's the promoter of this fight, is trying to put his stuff together right now to get his fighters back on. So I personally believe this fight's going to take place in August to late August, possibly September, for the world title. I'm picking Glowacki to win just because of his resume, but Okoli is a 6'5" cruiserweight. So I would not be surprised if the younger Okoli pulled off the upset, but I'm picking Glowacki to win the fight and push forward into 2021 towards unification bouts, but we'll see. Next at number 2, dropping 1 spot for number 1, is Maris Bradis, the former 2-time world champion. I dropped them just because I feel like looking at their resumes again, I look at Dorticos as having the better of the last year or two, the more dominance, the more convincing wins. Bradis should have lost to Noel Gavor in the quarterfinals of the World Boxing Super Series. Then in the semifinals, he got a controversial knockout win over Glowacki, and I just felt like Dorticos' resume, Dorticos is a champion where Bradis isn't. I think that, spoke to me, so that's why he dropped. Bradis is still supposed to be facing Dorticos in the finals of the Super Series. They got canceled twice this year. They're supposed to fight in March. They were one of the first victims to fall to the coronavirus pandemic, and then they were supposed to fight again in May, and again it got pushed back due to the pandemic. They're still discussing on when to do the fight. Actually, the World Boxing Super Series is pushing back their third season until 2021 because they want to get the finals in of the Cruiserweight division first for season 2. And I think it's coming before the end of the year. I think Bradis is going to lose the fight personally. I really do. I still think he's going to get knocked out against Dorticos, but I do believe he's got a good shot at winning. So we'll see what happens. But that's Maris Bradis. And finally, at number 1, moving up one spot from number 2, IBF champion Junior Dorticos. Dorticos supposed to be facing Bradis, as I said. It got pushed back a couple times because of the pandemic. They're still set to fight sometime in the second half of the year. We don't know when yet, but I believe that will be one of the first fights announced once DAZN gets their stuff going with Eddie Hearn and just in general, and boxing just came back. So I do believe we'll be seeing that. So that's it on the 200-pound cruiserweight division. That's the mid-year top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.